So, just like I promised, although a little late, here's an update after what? Uh, my last update, I think, was in a year post op, and I'm at now 20 months or over a year and a half post op. So, I'll get the stats out of the way since that's probably the part that most people came to see. Um, for weight loss, I lost basically 1.5 people. At my lowest weight, I was at 227 briefly, which would put my weight loss at an even two, count them, 200 pounds. What the fuck? That's crazy. Um, and let's see here. Right now, for you DSers out there who know what I'm talking about, and for those who don't, I'm probably well on my way into the maintenance period at this point. Weight's doing this. Some days I'm heavier, some days I'm lighter. Never more than 234, 235, never less than, say, 228. So I'm just hovering back and forth, still losing about the same 5, 7 pounds back and forth, back and forth. Not really losing anything. So that's cool. We all get there. And hopefully I'll stay there. You know, I haven't been doing any stupid shit like drinking my calories full of liquor and sodas and stuff. Although I do have the occasional beer, and do enjoy a little soda every so often. Uh, oh, have picked up one bad habit though, or I should say, re-picked it up. No, that's good. I don't trust people without a vice. Sorry. So you can knock me for smoking. I prefer to call it an affirmation of life. And we'll just leave it at that. Oh, by the way, welcome to Casa de Gillespie, my new pad. Moved approximately, what, 70 miles away from my old place. Gotta tell you, I'm loving it. Much cheaper rent, much shorter commute. Actually pretty good amount of things around, you know, like grocery stores and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Oh, just as a sidebar, uh I wanted to remind you, you know, especially the newbies, you know, the ones that just recently got switched. If you think your DS is broken at 3, 4 months out because you've been in a stall or a plateau or something like that, um, I'm sorry, but I don't have any sympathy for you at this point. I went to Mongolian Grill the other day, and Mongolian Grill for me was like the crack of meals. I mean, all you can eat, fix it yourself, season it yourself, do it up perfect, cook it on a hot grill, smelling the, the food cooking and everything, the whole damn experience. I love Mongolian Grill, right? Cheap. I paid like $10. And so sat down to a meal of some beef, some trees, some onions, and carrots, and some other shit, right? And a little bit of noodles. What the hell was I thinking? So anyway, after about 2, 3 bites, and I wasn't eating very quickly. It was just, you know, like I would say normal for me at this point. Uh, my stomach felt like somebody hit me in the stomach with a sledgehammer. Straight to the restroom, up Chuck at 20 months. Talk about a fucking embarrassment. 20 months, and I'm still throwing up like I'm still learning how to eat. And in a way, I still am. And this thing has its own way every day of reminding me that I'm still new to it. But at any rate, I came back and sat back down. I went and made another dish, this time without the noodles, because for some reason, pasta, rice, stuff like that, it just does a number on me. It feels like a brick sitting in my gut. And I could eat just a couple of bites of it and I'm done, like way done. So this time I picked pretty much the same dish, except not spicy. Any of you out there who eat really quickly and upchuck a lot, and who like spicy food, should know that it may taste good going down. It does not fucking feel good coming back. So not spicy, more protein, etc., etc. 2 bites again, right to the damn restroom. I'm like, are you kidding me? I feel like at this point, like I'm 2 months out. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I still have a lot of restriction most days. I eat on average pretty much like a small normal meal. Soups I can eat a lot more of. Yogurts, soft stuff I can eat a ton. Popcorn, eat a ton. Meats and stuff like that, though, I still have a huge amount of restriction at 20 months, and I don't see that changing for quite some time, hopefully. So, enough about the stats. If you came here just for the stats, there you got them. You know, you're free to go. All the rest of you who come to watch my videos to hear what I have to say about my life, here's the real stuff. So, the last year or so has been what I've termed the year of hell. Strangely enough, however, this year of hell has actually been one of my own creation, which is funny in retrospect because I think it makes me a bit of a masochist, considering how I must have enjoyed going through this shit to have put myself through it so badly. But at any rate, I I ended up subsequently damn nearly losing everything. And I'll touch on each individual piece here right now. So, as you guys all know, I was planning to get married and stuff like that, and that didn't pan out. Essentially, I sabotaged it, to be quite honest. Angela is a fantastic person, fantastic woman, always has been, always will be. But I used the few things that could be considered flaws about her as an excuse to basically create a scenario where she had no way to win. And I've apologized to her since, and publicly I'm apologizing to her now, and not only to her but to her family because of my negativity, my shitty faux bravado behavior that I expressed over the last year of trying to fake it until I make it, so to speak. I gotta tell you people, I've said it once and I've said it 1,000 times, and more fool me for not following my own advice. Yeah, let me rephrase that. More fool me for not following my own advice out to its very end. I've told you guys repeatedly, surgery doesn't fix your head. There's a lot of issues that you may have, and you may have blamed your obesity for years because of it. You say, oh, well, this is happening to me because I'm fat. People don't date me because I'm fat. I can't find somebody who loves me because I'm fat. I can't get a good job because I'm fat. Well, what do you do when that stops being an excuse? What do you say to yourself when you are no longer the biggest person in the fucking room? What do you say to yourself when your obesity is the thing that is gone? When you don't have that to identify with, to point to as a reason for you not having a good job, or you not having a mate, or you not living the type of life that you think you're entitled to. If I had to put a statement to a word, I should say, if I had to put a word to what my mentality was during this last year up until roughly the end, it was entitlement. And I'm going to keep it 100% real. A lot of you who are having the weight loss surgeries and stuff like that, you look at other people's stories and you think that you're entitled to that. That if you put your life at risk, go under the knife, risk death to make this huge drastic change to yourself, that somehow or another that entitles you to have this grandiose life that is supposed to be the life of your dreams. That if only you lose weight, you can finally find a hot guy or gal to be with. That you can uh, start to, get your finances together, that you can get a better job, that you can do all these things. I got some sad news for you. You're not entitled to shit. As a matter of fact, if you don't do the work, you really at that point won't have anybody to blame for what you about to go through. Some of the things that I'll share with you, but yourself. Like it or lump it, it's the truth. You won't have nobody to blame but yourself. So I sabotaged the relationship with Angela, made some really fucking stupid choices when it came to my kids' mom and my kids. As a matter of fact, I end up in a scenario where I was basically having sex with my kid's mom so I could see my kids. Now, that is unscrupulous, uh, stupid, dishonorable. I own all of that. That being said, at the time when I made the decision, I thought that I was doing the right thing. I thought all I had to do was just be upfront and say, hey, look, this isn't about, me being in love with you. This isn't about me wanting to be with you. I want to be able to seal the breach so that I can come over here and see my kids without any drama. Of course, for all the honor I had trying to make sure that that situation worked out well, I was completely fucking dishonorable with Angela. Didn't tell her shit. So all you ladies out there who've been following me and thought that I was the nicest guy, I'm still a nice guy. I'm a nice guy that made really fucking stupid, dumbass choices when it counted. In the crunch, I folded. So if you feel the need to castigate me, go right ahead. I've forgiven myself, and if you can't forgive me for it, well, more fool you. But yeah, I didn't tell her shit. Of course, I'm a really crappy liar. And nobody can come on to a video and do what I do and say what I say and be good at lying. They just can't. Yeah, of course I can lie. We all can. Matter of fact, I lied to myself for quite some time. But eventually, the truth always out. I think in some ways, I even set it up to where the truth could come out. I was so fucking afraid. I lost my job with the city of Seattle after having left a decent job that I had for 2 years to go to them. I wasn't there for 2 months before they fired me. And subsequently, the loss in financials and all the other stuff that was going on in my head, it just cascaded. And next thing I knew, I didn't know where the hell I was. And I didn't know how to reach out to anybody. The people I should have turned to for support, for assistance, I hid away from my support group. I didn't go to meetings. My family, I didn't talk to them and tell them shit. I stopped talking to Angela about anything more than, what do you want to eat tonight? Or are we going to fuck tonight? Or whatever. You know what I mean? Everything became so superficial with everybody because I felt like I needed to do this on my own. I felt like that I needed to fake it till I make it, to be this super stud that now that I'm all, skinny, quote unquote, and supposed to be healthy in the man and all of that shit, that I'm just going to go out here and barrel my way through my problems. Nothing's going to stop me. Boy, did I have no clue. If I had it to do all over again, no, wait, let me stop. I'll touch on that closer towards the end. Let me tell you about The Dark Knight. And I don't mean the fucking movie. I mean The Dark Night of the Soul. I actually get that piece at this point. Angela moved out and left me a horrible, beautiful, crazy, fucked up, most well-needed letter detailing everything that she had found out that I had done. And not only did she detail everything that she had found out that I had done about the lies, not telling her about the situation with my kid's mom, but she talked about the effects of my behavior on the family, on her, on well, I ain't gonna say her name, but the kid, you know who you are, and everything. And when I read that letter, by the way, I still have it. I still have it for a reason, because I have this new concept that I've embraced called signposts. There are things that happen in your life that are not necessarily there to teach you something. I don't believe in that life is a school shtick, but when you're walking down a path, you need signposts to tell you the direction you're headed, so that if you're headed in the wrong direction, you can say, oh, wait a minute, I'm not trying to go over to the lake, I'm trying to go over to the mountain. You can backtrack, or you can take a different route. This letter was a signpost, and I keep it as a signpost, so that if I ever find myself walking down that path again, all I have to do is pull out that letter and say, oh, I'm headed in the wrong direction, and make a change. But that dark night was quite frankly horrible. Whew. Okay, so I found myself unemployed, broke, probably no more than a couple of weeks away from losing my apartment. I had just purchased a new car just shortly before Angela moved out. Couldn't make my car payment. Had no food in the house. Uh, all cards, and I don't have very good credit to begin with. So my credit limits are not that high, but they're high enough that if you max them out, you got problems if you ain't got no money. So my cards maxed out, no friends, no nothing. And I don't know, I got really, really dark a lot of days. Some days I would think about ripping off a store to try to get money. Or I'd come up with these grandiose criminal schemes to try to get paid, and I would sit there at night and think about plans and plots, and never anything positive. It was never about, oh, maybe I can try to start a business, because I did start a business briefly, and that didn't pan out. So I was like, fuck that, business shit. I'm gonna go get the quick money, and I sat in front of the computer a lot. Most times, not even on the internet, just staring at the screen, at the monitor. I didn't even have enough motivation to click a link to read something. Uh, Stop posting on Facebook. Stop doing anything. I was depressed, angry, broken. Uh, so one day, I remember the day, but I don't remember the date. But I know it was about, I want to say about 2, 3 months ago, maybe. It was a Thursday. My mom, I talk to my mom periodically. She, lives back east in KC while I live out here in Washington. So I call her pretty much every day. But I even was not calling her all that often. So I called and was talking to my mom. And I was just running down the litany of all the shit that was gone. I'm lonely, I'm tired, broke, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, etc., etc., etc. And my mom said to me, just like you chose to get where you are, you can choose, if you want to get out. What? Don't come to me with platitudes and cliched statements. I don't want to hear that shit. And she would say something like, if you change the way you see things, the way you see things will change. And it seemed like it was crazy. It seemed like the more she spoke, the madder I got. Like that mad, like, shut the fuck up talking to me. I don't even want to hear you breathing at this point, mad, right? And I remember she said to me, that if I was so determined to allow my situation to define who I was, then that's okay. But to understand that that's what I was choosing. I was choosing to walk the way that I was walking. I was choosing to accept and agree with how things were. I said, my life's fucked up. And I agreed with that. I agreed that my life was fucked up. Situations were what they were, but I agreed that they were bad. And so they were bad. Not necessarily because the situations were all that bad, but because that's how I saw them. And I know it sounds crazy, but it was like a bright light at the end of a tunnel. What the hell? I was just blown away. And so I made a commitment to myself that very day that I would no longer allow my mind, my thoughts to be soiled by choosing to view my life as so bad. I started to click links again, but not to have fun on the internet. I started looking at shit that was happening around the world. I mean, you got people over in Syria who are getting blown away by soldiers that speak the same language, that look like them, that's supposed to be there to protect them. You got people in countries that are starving right now who don't even have a hope of getting a meal today, let alone this week. Kids dying from starvation, water poisoned, hotter than hell because of climate change. I mean, I looked at my life and I'm like, shit. Okay, so I'm broke, but the cell phone still works. Okay, I'm broke, but when I flick the light switch, guess what? The lights still come on. I don't have a whole lot of food in here, but I got a couple of cans up in the cabinet and a pack of ramen noodles. It ain't the best food, but I can eat. And I started looking not at what I didn't have, but what I did have. I started looking not at what was out of control, but what I could control, what I could do. And I started taking steps. Uh, started temping a little bit and ultimately found a job. So I have a new job. Yay for me, right? Um, I made amends, and that was hard and still is because some people have chosen, and again, it's their right, their choice, to not forgive me for things that I had done to people they care for and through them, to them indirectly. Uh, but I have worked to make amends. I've written people and told them the truth about where my heart's been, where my emotions been, where my mind's been the last year. I have owned every single piece of filthy shit I've done to myself and to other people in the last year. And life every day is better and better and better. No, scratch that. Life every day is damn good without fail. I mean, I wake up in the morning juiced. I go to the same job, don't make a whole lot of money at this point. Uh, jump in my little car that it gets me from point A to point B. Ain't the greatest car, but it gets me from point A to point B. I wear the same clothes, but none of that matters. What matters is that for the first time in forever, probably since I was a boy, I actually feel like hopeful. I feel like there's so many choices I have, so many opportunities that I have to do something new. And not only do it new, but do it with joy, with peace of mind, with real, actual pleasure. Everything I do is pleasurable. Even when I'm tired, I feel good. Even when I can't eat and keep anything down, I feel good. When I'm tossing and turning at night, because maybe it's too hot this night, or maybe it's too cold that night, I still feel good. And it has nothing to do with my externals. It has everything to do with in here. I basically let go. And to put a fine point on it. And I've actually got a theme song at this point for this time period that I've been through. It's a song by A Perfect Circle called Gravity off of the 13th Step album. The chorus is, I'm surrendering to gravity and the unknown. And every time I hear that, I just imagine myself falling backwards, but without a drop of fear, and simply falling and allowing what occurs to occur with complete detachment, with complete peace. And I'm in a vastly better place than I've been in this last year. So this video has gone on for the hell, but it's been one heck of an update video, I bet you, right? Go ahead and do like you always do. Leave your comments either on the blog page or leave them in the comments area down below. Before I sign off, I read a book a few years ago, actually quite a few years ago, and I own now two copies of the book, because I'm going to find somebody that really needs this book and I'm just going to gift it to them, right? It's called The Four Agreements. And everybody knows I'm not a religious person. I'm not a very mystical person. But these four agreements are things that, to be quite honest, are just common sense things that if you embrace them, they make your life better. It doesn't have to be about a god or gods or serving a faith or a deity. I mean, if that's your cup of tea, go for it. If you derive your strength from God or from service or from some other lofty thing, have at it. But if you need a little extra, I recommend the Four Agreements. The Four Agreements are pretty simple, and they're as follows, and I'm going to paraphrase to show you just how simple they are. Tell the truth, always. That's a toughie for most of us, trust me when I tell you that one. I mean, that one agreement alone, if you do that one, you're doing some shit. The second one is don't take shit personally. That's a big one too. The third one is don't assume anything. Ask questions. You know, I look back at some of the situations with Angela and I realized that if I had just simply asked her, so are you angry right now? And waited for an answer and actually acted on the information that I had gotten rather than assuming by the look of her face or the set of her body that she was pissed off, a whole bunch of situations might have been different, right? So don't assume nothing and always do your best. Always do your best is not, it's counterintuitive. Always do your best doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. Sometimes your best is just rolling the hell over instead of rolling out of bed. Sometimes your best is just getting up and putting on a pair of underwear and sitting in your damn chair smoking a cigarette. Whatever your best is, always do it. And forgive yourself for thinking that you need to do more. Some days doing your best is just existing, just breathing, just pissing, just shitting, just sleeping. That's fine. And other days you have more, where you can do more, and you do it to the best that you can do it. Four agreements. Tell the truth always. Don't assume shit. Always do your best. Or I always forget the second one. The second one is probably the most important one. Don't take things personally. The world ain't about you. This life ain't about you. None of this is about you. That is amazing to realize that the world will keep spinning even if you ain't on it. The wind will still keep blowing, the rain will still keep falling, the sun will still keep shining, whether your ass is here or not. This whole damn thing isn't about you. The only meaning your life has is the meaning you assign to it. If you say that my life is about suffering, about pain, about lacking, about loneliness, about drama, then that's what it'll be about, because that is the meaning you've agreed to assign to it. If you say my life is about peace, it's about joy, it's about pleasure, it's about kindness, it's about beauty, it's about truth, then that's what your life will be, because that is the meaning you assign to it. So anyway, I'm done. I should have probably broke this video up into pieces, but yeah, you know me, I don't do anything in half measures. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Now that I've kind of broken the drought, I'd like to do more update videos. This time though, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not going to put a timetable on it. I'm past the whole point where I feel like it has to be about months. These videos that are to come will just be more topical than anything else. I won't even mention really anything about my weight anymore. Like I said, I'm at that point where I'm not really losing weight anyway. So it's not about that anymore. The DS is firmly, fully a part of who I am, and I don't deny that. But I want you guys to get to know me better. And more importantly, I want to get to know you better. So leave comments. I don't give a shit if you have something negative to say. I just want to hear it. At any rate, as always, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for supporting, clicking likes, don't likes, making comments, or not making comments. I do this not just for me, but for you. And until the next one, love, peace, and hair grease.